The build show is on the road. Well, actually more like on the plane. Coming to you from Switzerland. We've been here a couple days touring job sites, and we're here on behalf of this company right here. This is Siga. We've used a bunch of their air tightness products back in the States, but they're huge here in Europe. They're doing all kinds of things in houses that we as Americans don't really know their methods. So stay tuned for some more videos of that. But on today's video, I want to talk to you about this beautiful building. This is an 1860s renovation, which is now the Siga guest house. This was originally built by the Catholic Church as an orphanage, and now it's been converted into basically a bed and breakfast for Siga guests who are coming here from training. Let's go take a tour. Okay, so walking up to this building, the first thing you notice, just massive building. This first level has masonry walls that are super thick. I'll show you that in a second. Look at this beautiful copper gutters. But look at the depth on these windows. This starts to give you an idea of how thick these walls are. From the window out, we've got at least a foot or so. From the window back, it's another foot. This has to be 2 foot thick. Now this is a tall building, but it's solid masonry. Probably at least 6 stories tall or so, plus a cool attic that hopefully we're going to get to. Let's go look at the front door though. Okay, hopefully the front door is open. It's locked right now. I think the front door is an interesting place to start, because look, we've got a beautiful old door, but look what they've turned it into. A very European and modern door that's very energy efficient. Look at these double gaskets. You see this all over Europe. You've got 2 gaskets, and the door, when it closes, has this kind of a design going on. So you've got 2 places of contact, which means you got a very tight door. It looks like you've got an old farmhouse door, but yet look, with these double gaskets, you're going to get really tight air sealing. That's pretty awesome. Come on into the foyer here. And of course, as a Texan, the other thing that I noticed right away, that all of my northern fans are going to say I'm crazy, but we just don't do a lot of radiators in Texas, right? It's a cooling dominated climate where I'm from. So seeing radiators, this is going to heat this front entryway. And remember, this building is solid masonry, so it's cold on the outside. And so having this counteract that cold, which is radiating off your skin, it's going to really warm this area. Now, we mentioned earlier, this was originally built for a Catholic orphanage. Look at this beautiful room. Let's see if we can turn some lights on. This was the chapel, I guess, of the old orphanage. Just some beautiful details. Look, they built the radiators into the bench seating here, and you'll see that throughout this building. Wherever there's some radiators, they've got some pretty millwork over them. Look at this old hardware too. I'm assuming this is some original hardware. God, I missed this before. Look at these hinges. So pretty. That must be a refurbished original hinge. Wow, that's really pretty. Cool stuff. Now, there's not a ton to show you on the first floor. It's been remodeled very tastefully. I love this concrete tile. They've got some really pretty stuff in here. But what else is interesting in here, I think, is even just the way the rooms are done. So let's actually go up to my guest room, and I'm going to give you a little tour over there. Okay, one more thing. I love how all the interior doors, again, it's probably a fire door because it's basically a hotel. You've got a nice seal on there, but you've got a glass door so you can see through it. You've got a closer on there. By the way, it's Dorma hardware, which I've used a lot even in the States. It's going to be a little echo in here, but look at these pretty spiral staircases, or the spiral staircase, I should say, that goes up through the entire core of the building. And check out how they light it with a strip LED underneath the handrail. This is really pretty. I just noticed that this has all of their logos of all their products stamped into the into the fixture. That's pretty cool. Ooh, that's loud. That's cool. Wonder if this is the same window company that we visited today. That's cool. I love these casements that don't have a crank handle on there. You just open it right up, lock it, and then tilt it that way, and it tilts out at you. Which way is locked? That way is locked. Okay, there we go. Okay, let's check out the room, shall we? guys are on. Come on in. All right, so again, check out the door. Seals on all 4 sides. I love that. What hotel rooms have you seen that you can see light under the door, which means you're hearing everything in the hallway? Got a nice airtight door. And then single room, give you a quick tour of this space. Just a single room. That's mainly what they've got. Is they've got carpenters, they've got builders, they've got installers coming in for training. So they really just need single rooms. Again, those beautiful tilt tilt in windows that are push out casements. Open in casements. This is such a great room. The bathroom's so interesting. Check this out. Of course, everybody has a sample of exterior insulation just hanging out in their in their hotel room, right? I picked this up from a job and couldn't resist. Need to play with that a little bit more tonight. But check out this bathroom. I love these style of bathrooms that the entire room is a wet room. So you've got tile on all the floors. Let me open this up so you can see what's going on here. And then you've got basically everything in the room from about 6'5", 6'6", and down is all wet areas. If you could hose the whole thing off. Floating countertop, nice little Corian sink and countertop integrated. I like this design too. It's a little easy way to hide an inexpensive drain. That's pretty cool. Wall-mounted faucet. Of course, all the plumbing systems are all Hansgrohe, good German manufacturer that we use in the States. Every toilet that I've seen in this area is all wall-hung toilets, Gaboret. We think of that as a luxury in the States, and we don't use them super often. They're easy to install. You can adjust the height. You can put these in at whatever height you want, and then they keep the floor really clean. It makes it so you can clean all the way underneath there. There's no nasty caulk line at the floor where the porcelain is hitting the tile. I also like a couple of these details too, and I've become a bit of a Schluter nerd recently. But look, you've got just a little lip in this shower. It's a 0 barrier shower. You've got just this little profile here. That's probably a Schluter profile. A real simple, white, inexpensive tile that looks nice. Same with the walls, a simple, inexpensive tile. This is probably a 1/2 inch drop. And then another 1/2 inch drop right here where the hardwoods meet. Again, another little Schluter profile. So this entire floor is a wet floor. We don't have to worry about flooding. Everything can take water in this whole space. Super tastefully done. Not expensive, but just really thought out, really well detailed. I think that really summarizes what I've seen of Switzerland so far. Nothing is over the top expensive. They're not extravagant, but they really think things through. They think about durability and long term and what's the next generation going to do with the space. Super fun. All right, I think I've got access to the rooftop. Let's go up there next. Okay, this is cool. We're up in the attic now, and check this out. This building originally built in 1860, they told us. It was originally a Catholic orphanage, and look what Siga did when they remodeled this. This is really cool. So this was obviously a vented attic. Look, that's probably where the attic venting was down in the end. We'll see that in a second. But this is turned now into a conditioned space. This has all been insulated. And here in Switzerland, we've seen all over the place, they use sheathing on the inside of their buildings, and there's insulation in there, and then they're, of course, using their tapes to air seal everything. So on the OSB, they're using the Sigrol tape. I've used this before when I built a Bensonwood house that was sheathed on the inside. And then where that's coming down and touching the masonry building, because this is a giant masonry building, they've used the Rissan tape, which is going to stick well to the concrete. So now we've got this air-sealed attic. And look at this beautiful ductwork. Now the heating in here is radiant heating. And I don't know exactly what's going on with this ductwork, but my assumption is this is something to do with bringing fresh air into all the guest rooms. I think there's around 80 rooms or so in this guest house. So these must be going to sections of the building and bringing in fresh air and bringing it to certain parts in the building. Here's that crazy sheetrock that we've seen in other places. Firm cell maybe is the name? It's such an interesting material that I've not seen in the States. It seems to get glued and nailed together. So I wonder if they're using that as some kind of a plenum for this ductwork, or maybe it's actually just protecting the ducts. And check this out. Let's go look at this window that's down here at the gable. Somebody's got a little maid's office down here. That's kind of cool. Slide the ironing board over. So this is a nod to the historic nature of the building. You've got this really pretty decorative vent now, obviously not venting. You've got a new window here at the gable side, but this is kind of cool too. It looks like they poured this gable wall. I don't believe this is original. And then you can see how their tapes work too in this situation. This is kind of neat. We've got Siga tapes. I think this is Fentrum. It's a fleece face on this. And they've taped all around where the window is actually coming into this gable side. And it's sticking really nicely to the concrete. Now this remodel was 6 years ago. So it's been here for at least 5-6 years. And look at that. It's stuck really nicely to that concrete. Which means that that window is nice and air sealed. And then there's going to be another layer of another Siga tape on the outside that's going to do both windproofing and waterproofing, but this is mainly for air sealing purposes. Boy, that is one pretty 150-year-old building. Big thanks to these guys, Siga, for bringing us all the way over the ocean to get here in Switzerland. We've had a fantastic trip so far, and tomorrow I'm going to be participating in this, so stay tuned for some future videos on the Global Air Tightness Conference. Hopefully I'll get a chance to talk to some builders from around the world. They've got Canadian builders here, folks from Australia, New Zealand, China, other places in Europe, Britain. This is going to be a really fun conference. So look for a link in the description to Siga below so you can learn more about them and their products. They're going to help you build a more airtight, efficient building. And if you're not already a fan of the Build Show, hit that subscribe button below. We've got new content every Tuesday and every Friday, much more from Switzerland coming up. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram. Otherwise, we'll see you next time on The Build Show.